In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Excel Connector to create a template that will let your users update Pricebook entries in just a couple of clicks directly from Excel. Salesforce has a restriction on the Pricebook entry object that they cannot be updated. It's a junction object between Pricebooks and products. So in order to modify records of this object, you actually need to delete the old junction records and create new ones referencing the same products and Pricebooks. First, we'll pull all our Pricebook entries using a SQL query. I have just 3 entries in the system, so I'll pull all, but you can define your own filters in the query if you only want to pull a subset of records. Now we'll need to set up the flow so that it will be deleting the existing entries and creating new ones. Click on the Edit Flow button to get to the flow editor. When one runs a query or a report, one flow step gets created automatically. I'm going to rename this flow step to reflect the operations it will be doing. This flow step contains the link to the SQL query that I ran. This way, when I click on refresh, Excel Connector knows where to pull the data from and where to put it. I'm going to leave the data source intact and set up the same flow step to also delete the pulled Pricebook entries from Salesforce. But I'll need to set the ID column so that Excel Connector knows which column contains the record IDs to delete. I'll check the mappings real quick to make sure that all the fields are mapped correctly. The push mode will define which row will be used when the user clicks on the Run Flow button in this template. I'm going to leave it as selected rows. This will give me the flexibility to select the rows I want to modify. You can choose all rows, but in that case, all rows will be affected every time the user clicks on the Run Flow button. Now let's create a flow step that will be creating new Pricebook entries. The start cell remains at A1, just like in the first step. I'll need to click into the start cell box and then click out of it for Excel Connector to recalculate the number of columns in the data. This is required for it to know how many columns to work with. There will be no data source assigned to this flow step. The only thing it will do is create new records. So I'll choose the insert operation, select the right object, and make sure the mappings are correct. One more thing to do is to overwrite the Pricebook entry IDs with the newly created ones, since the previous IDs will be deleted by the first flow step. And also make sure that selected rows option is selected in the push mode tab, just like in the first flow step. That's it. The template is all ready and you can distribute it to the users. To emulate the usage by a non-admin user, I'm going to switch the license to Team Player so that it looks the same as it would for the user with a Team Player license. Updating Pricebook entries is a very common scenario, but you can apply the concept of Excel Connector flows to a lot of other data loading scenarios. Excel Connector flows can also run VBA scripts and even run anonymous Apex code in Salesforce. So the number of scenarios you can build here is virtually unlimited.